Hello from Jonathan and me, welcome to the programme.
First, it was described in court as a disaster waiting to happen, a disaster that robbed one man of his life and injured two others.
Today, two firms were fined £126,000 for the scaffolding collapse that left a builder with fatal injuries. John Robinson fell around 100 feet at the Jury's Inn Hotel in Milton Keynes.
Well, Matthew Hudson has been following the case and joins us now from court. So, Matthew, just remind us a little bit more about this incident.
Well, Jonathan, it may sound harsh, but in fact it's amazing that there were not more fatalities in this accident. Just imagine 17 stories of scaffolding detaching themselves from the side of a new hotel and crashing down onto a busy building site. Tons and tons of steel everywhere. The amazing thing is that, in fact, it was only the three men who were actually on the scaffolding who were injured, and tragically one of them, John Robinson, did later die from his injuries. That was 3.5 years ago. Today, here at Huntingdon Crown Court, his family finally got some kind of justice. More than 3.5 years on, and Christine Robinson still takes life a day at a time. But there's a big empty hole inside her. Her husband John died after scaffolding he was working on collapsed. Her son Mark, who was working alongside his dad, was seriously hurt and is still in pain.
They were working together on the 13th and 14th floor of the Jury's Inn Hotel that was being built at Milton Keynes, and scaffolding collapsed, and they came down with the scaffolding. In some respects, it could have been a lot worse for a lot of other people, but it was lunchtime and John and Mark had gone for their lunch earlier.
The tragedy happened at the new Jury's Inn building in Milton Keynes in April 2006 during high winds and lashing rain. On the day of the incident, two people, including John Robinson, were working on the west scaffold. A third person was on the north scaffold. John Robinson died 3 days later in hospital. The court heard how Northern Ireland-based Macaleer and Rush were the principal contractors during the construction of two adjacent hotels in the centre of Milton Keynes.
These were very serious breaches of health and safety legislation. They amounted to not designing a scaffold properly, not building it properly, not using it properly, and as a result we ended up with too many tiles on a scaffold, causing it to collapse with tragic consequences.
Macaleer and Rush, some of whose executives are seen here leaving court, admitted two breaches of the Health and Safety at Work Act. Subcontractor Lee Smith Carpentry, the company which employed the Robinsons, admitted 4 breaches of regulations, including not carrying out a proper risk assessment. The prosecution's case is that the huge tower of scaffolding had been badly put together. It was overladen with workers' materials and had not been sufficiently well bolted to the side of the hotel. The company that put up the scaffolding, NNM Scaffolding, has gone bust. Its director, John King, has fled to Spain. An arrest warrant has been issued for him. Through their lawyer, Lee Smith Carpentry apologised for the failings and said systems had now been improved. Macaleer and Rush said the same. Macaleer and Rush were fined £90,000 and ordered to pay £42,000 in cost. Lee Smith Carpentry was fined £36,000 and must pay £28,000 in costs. The judge, Nicholas Coleman, said this had been a disaster waiting to happen.
So, Matt, we heard there from Christine Robinson. Were the family in court to hear the verdict?
Yes, the family was here. They left without commenting. This sentencing took all day, and I think that they were generally very emotional by the end of it. But they did give us a statement, a part of which reads, "Employers have to make safety a priority for everyone working in and around their workplace to minimise accidents and death. We do not want another family to experience the loss and devastation we have been through. John is sorely missed every day since he was taken from us. We are very angry that this accident was allowed to happen."
Matt, for now, thank you very much. Well, next, a 5-year-old boy has died from suspected swine flu. His school was closed today as a mark of respect and also as a health precaution.
Emberton School near Olney in Buckinghamshire has just 29 pupils. It's news that's devastated the close-knit community. Neil Bradford has more.
The pupils here are too young to understand what has happened to their friend, but the emptiness of the playground somehow mirrors the sense of loss this small school is feeling. With just 29 pupils aged between 4 and 7, Emberton School near Olney is more of a close family. This morning came the tragic news that one of that family had died of suspected swine flu.
The boy, who has not yet been named but is not from the village of Emberton, is thought to have been in school on Friday, but over the weekend his condition deteriorated and he died at Milton Keynes Hospital on Sunday.
Richard Cadell is the school governor and the parish priest. He says the boy's death has touched everyone in the village.
So it's a very friendly, very close village. I think they'll be very supportive on that. Obviously, there will be a lot of grief shared there. There'll be a lot of anxiety shared, at least for those who have younger children, and they'll be wondering and waiting to find out what exactly did happen.
The news has caused both upset and anxiety.
Well, we've got young grandchildren, and obviously that's a worry, because they are at school.
This is tragic news indeed. Well, I feel very sorry for them, very, very sorry.
Following advice from the Health Protection Agency, the school will reopen tomorrow. A special assembly will be held to remember a boy staff describe as a confident, delightful and happy young man. Neil Bradford, Anglia News, Emberton near Milton Keynes.
Worrying times currently. Now, next tonight, 7 suspected brothels across Suffolk and Essex have been targeted by police officers as part of a crackdown on human trafficking and the vice trade as well.
7 people have been arrested after the police operation called Operation Helios, which involved more than 30 police officers. Lorna Ramsey reports.
It's 1 o'clock and Operation Helios swings into action. Police officers are targeting the suspected brothel in George Williams Way in Colchester. Inside, they find 2 women.
Okay, you do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention.
One is arrested on suspicion of managing a brothel and human trafficking, while the other, a 33-year-old woman from Thailand, is a suspected victim of human trafficking. She has been taken into police care. It's believed that she was brought into this country illegally and then forced to work in the sex industry.
Haven't got any documents. They're here in a foreign country illegally, which they know they are, and that's certain out of hold, because although they know they voluntarily came in illegally, it wasn't to be sexually exploited. They have been deceived into how they've come over here. A lot of them got families, young children back in their own countries they'll possibly never see again. It's incredibly upsetting.
In total, 8 suspected brothels across Suffolk and Essex were targeted today. Police simultaneously entered addresses at George Williams Way, Tyndale, Dorchester End, Winstree Road and Harwich Road in Colchester, and 2 properties at Mountbatten Court and Abbey Court in Ipswich. Detectives say the main aim of this operation is to rescue women who are being exploited by the sex industry, but there may also be links to organised crimes. Operations in the past have revealed connections with triad gangs, illegal medicines and money laundering. Police officers spent hours collecting evidence. Newspaper advertisements, bank statements and £200 in cash are all bagged up. In total, 7 people, including this woman, have been arrested following this operation. Lorna Ramsey, Anglia News, Colchester.
Police are investigating after hackers stole hundreds of private emails from scientists at the University of East Anglia. The material was taken from servers at the UEA's Climatic Research Unit before being published on websites run by climate change sceptics. The centre's director has denied the information stolen shows they were trying to exaggerate the threat of global warming.
The Conservative MP for West Suffolk, Richard Spring, has today announced he'll step down at the general election. He's been a Suffolk MP since 1992. In a letter to his constituency party chairman, he said it had been the greatest possible honour to represent the area. Well, stay with us here on Monday.